ChatGPT. Relate ACIM to the movie The Invention of Lying. The Invention of Lying through the lens of A Course in Miracles. ACE. The Invention of Lying is a clever and surprisingly profound exploration of perception, belief, storytelling, fear, hope, identity, and the power of thought. Set in a world where nobody has ever lied, the film asks what happens when one man discovers the ability to say things that are not factually true, and others believe him. Through the lens of A Course in Miracles, ACM, the movie becomes a fascinating meditation on the stories the mind invents and the difference between illusion and truth. At its heart, the movie asks what happens when people believe a story. ACM asks an even deeper question. What if the entire world is built upon a story the mind believes? The power of belief. The central premise of the movie revolves around belief. People hear something, they accept it. Their experience changes, their behavior changes, their emotions change. ACIM teaches that perception follows belief. The world we experience reflects the thought system we have chosen. The movie brilliantly demonstrates how powerful belief can be. Making up reality. When Mark discovers he can invent things that are not literally true, he suddenly gains extraordinary influence. The ego functions in a similar way. It invents stories. Stories about ourselves. Stories about others. Stories about the past. Stories about the future. ACIM teaches that suffering arises when we mistake these stories for reality. The movie beautifully exposes this dynamic. The fear of death. One of the film's most moving moments occurs when Mark comforts his dying mother. He invents a beautiful story about what comes after death. The story brings peace, hope, comfort. ACM teaches that the fear of death is the ego's deepest fear because the ego believes the body is the self. The movie explores humanity's longing for reassurance that life has meaning beyond appearances. The ego's stories. The ego is constantly narrating, interpreting, judging, predicting. ACM teaches that the ego's thought system is itself a fabrication, a made-up identity built upon separation. The movie's invention of lying becomes symbolic of the mind's ability to manufacture entire realities through thought. Truth versus facts. One of the most ACM-like themes in the film is the distinction between facts and truth. Facts concern form. Truth concerns reality. A statement can be factually accurate yet spiritually unhelpful. A story can be fictional, yet point toward a deeper truth. The movie repeatedly plays with this distinction. The need for meaning. People embrace Mark's stories because they long for meaning, purpose, hope, connection. ACIM teaches that every search is ultimately a search for God. The movie beautifully reveals the human longing for something beyond the material world. Specialness. Once Mark becomes the only person capable of lying, he becomes special, influential, unique, important. The ego loves specialness. ACIM teaches that specialness separates, while love joins. The movie repeatedly explores the consequences of being viewed as special. Forgiveness of illusions. One of the film's deepest lessons is that people live by interpretations rather than objective reality. ACM teaches that forgiveness involves recognizing that our interpretations are not the truth. The movie gently exposes how easily minds become attached to their stories. The happy dream. Despite its satire, the film points toward a happier possibility. A world where kindness matters more than manipulation. A world where love becomes more important than status. ACM describes the happy dream in similar terms. The movie repeatedly gestures toward this shift. The central reflection. The ego watches The Invention of Lying and asks, which story should I believe? How can I use stories to get what I want? How do I influence reality? The Holy Spirit watches The Invention of Lying and asks, what remains when all stories are released? Viewed through ACIM, the movie becomes a fascinating reflection on perception, belief, and the stories that shape our experience. Mark's discovery symbolizes the mind's power to invent meaning. The deepest message may be, the ego lives by stories and mistakes them for reality. The Holy Spirit gently leads beyond stories to truth itself. Every fear, grievance, and self-concept is part of a narrative the mind has constructed. Freedom begins when we stop asking which story is best and start remembering the love that exists before every story was ever told. Go to mwge.org to find some movie clips and a brief write-up by David Hoffmeister. Go to mwge.org to find full movie and commentary by David Hoffmeister.